All right, so welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into an episode of BoJack Horseman that's generated a ton of buzz, especially online.
Oh, yeah, free churro.
Free Churro, exactly. It's for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's basically just one long monologue by BoJack at his mother's funeral.
20 minutes.
Yeah, a full 20 minutes. And you wouldn't think that would be compelling TV, but the reaction has been incredible.
It really has.
We found this Reddit thread where fans are just praising it, calling it one of the best episodes of any show ever.
Not even exaggerating. It's pretty amazing.
So we thought we'd dig into that a bit, see what has people so hooked.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so skimming through these comments, the first thing that jumps out is just the raw emotion.
Oh, absolutely. It's striking, really.
People are talking about crying, like actually weeping through the whole episode.
Yeah, and not just tears. Some are saying they needed therapy after watching.
Like, I had to process this with a professional level of impact. So what is it about Free Churro that hits so hard?
Well, I think a big part of it is how it deals with, universal stuff. Grief, loss, parent relationships, things most people have some experience with.
Right, but it's all filtered through BoJack. He's not exactly, a perfect role model.
Yeah, he's deeply flawed, which is what makes it all the more relatable. You're not being preached at. It's just messy human experience.
Makes sense. And, there's this one comment that compares Free Churro to an episode of MASH.
Oh, interesting. Which one?
It's the one where Hawkeye has that long monologue while he's got that head injury.
Oh, right. I see the parallel.
They're both single character driven, and they really stick with you emotionally.
Absolutely. It proves that you don't need a ton of action or plot twists to create a powerful episode. Sometimes just one voice speaking directly to the audience can have the most impact.
Totally. It's like the simplicity almost amplifies things, But speaking of powerful voices, we have to talk about Will Arnett's performance in this episode.
Oh, yeah. People are going nuts for it.
And rightfully so. I mean, one person said it's Arnett's best performance ever. That he's both cold and vulnerable at the same time.
Which is exactly what BoJack is at this point in the series, right?
Yeah, and to make a 20-minute monologue feel captivating,
Yeah.
That's a serious feat of voice acting.
It really is. Arnett captures the cynicism and the self-pity that we're used to with BoJack, but he also layers in those flashes of real insight and vulnerability. Masterful, like you said. It's amazing, though, how even with all the heavy stuff, they still manage to sneak in that classic BoJack humor.
Oh, totally. I mean, the ending.
The ending is perfect.
Like, he delivers this whole heartfelt eulogy and then bam.
Wrong funeral.
Wrong funeral.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even come up with that?
It's so unexpected, but it works so well. It doesn't, cheapen anything that came before.
One commenter even said, the fact that they could pull that off is a testament to the writers. Like, it's both hilarious and kind of heartbreaking at the same time.
Absolutely. And it plays into that whole thing with BoJack, He uses humor as a shield to deflect.
Yeah, it's easier to laugh than actually deal with the pain. But, beyond BoJack himself, there's a lot of discussion in this thread about the portrayal of his relationship with his mom.
That's a tough one. Definitely hits home for a lot of people, I'd imagine.
Oh, for sure. So many of us have had difficult family dynamics, and Free Churro just lays it all out there.
It's raw and uncomfortable, but it also feels kind of validating, like you're not alone in dealing with that stuff.
Yeah, there's this one comment that really stuck with me. Someone said they actually went to therapy after watching to work through some stuff the episode brought up. It makes you realize how powerful storytelling can be, right?
Definitely. It's like BoJack becomes this, avatar for all those unspoken feelings people have about their own families.
And that I see you motif that keeps popping up, it's just so loaded. Especially when BoJack misremembers his mom saying it.
Oh, man, yeah. That's rough. The realization that she was just reading the letters ICU on a hospital sign.
It's just devastating.
Yeah.
It speaks to that deep desire for connection, for approval, even if it's from someone who might not be capable of truly giving it.
But, even though it's a tough watch, there's something about Free Churro that feels kind of cathartic.
Like maybe by seeing BoJack confront his pain, we can confront our own a little bit.
I think that's exactly it. It's shared catharsis. We're all in this together, dealing with grief and messy relationships.
It's not all doom and gloom, though. Several people in this Reddit thread mentioned another BoJack episode, The View from Halfway Down. They're saying it's even more powerful than Free Churro.
That's a bold statement.
Right. So have you seen it? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say The View from Halfway Down really digs deep into BoJack's head.
Deeper than Free Churro.
Oh, yeah. It takes those themes of grief, regret, the search for meaning, and it just explodes them in this really surreal, unforgettable way.
Sounds intense.
It is, but it's also brilliant. Definitely an episode that sticks with you.
So we might have to do a whole other deep dive on that one sometime.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much to unpack there.
But for now, back to Free Churro and the amazing fan reactions we've been seeing. What's the biggest takeaway for you from all this?
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's the reminder that art, even a cartoon about a talking horse, can have a profound impact on people.
It's true. This one episode has sparked so many conversations, and it's clearly helping people process some really heavy stuff.
It makes you wonder what other stories are out there just waiting to connect with us on that level.
Yeah, it's like Free Churro gives you permission to just feel those things, you know?
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it seems like those feelings tie back to BoJack's mom.
It is interesting how they use that to get at the whole, like, wanting approval from your parents thing.
Go total.
That moment with the, I see you, and then he remembers it was just the ICU sign at the hospital.
Oh, It's like a punch to the gut. Like wanting that validation so bad, even when, deep down.
That they might not be able to give it.
That's
Exactly.
nothing. It's heavy stuff. But even with all that, Free Churro still has that dark humor that BoJack is known for.
Right. Which is honestly probably part of why it works so well.
You think so?
I do. It lets you process the tough stuff without feeling completely overwhelmed.
It's like a pressure valve, yeah.
Exactly. You're laughing, but you're also feeling those deeper emotions at the same time.
And maybe even laughing at ourselves a bit.
Mm.
Like, oh man, I relate to that messed up dynamic way more than I should.
For sure. But one thing that stood out in the Reddit thread was how many people were talking about their own grief, loss of parents, friends, whoever.
Yeah, there were a lot of personal stories in there.
Which just says something about the episode, right?
Yeah.
It takes this specific thing with BoJack and his mom, but somehow...
It makes it universal.
Right, like that eulogy, it could almost be anyone talking about loss. It hits on those core emotions that we all feel.
It's like he's putting words to something that a lot of us have felt but couldn't express.
Exactly. And that's powerful stuff. To feel seen, heard, like you're not alone in that pain.
So we've talked about the emotion, the writing, Will Arnett's incredible performance. But when you boil it all down, what do you think is the reason Free Churro has resonated so strongly?
It's honesty, I think. It doesn't sugarcoat grief or offer easy answers. It just shows you this guy raw and struggling and lets you sit with that.
Which I guess is a lot like life itself, huh? Messy, no clear resolution.
Sometimes. But hey, at least we've got art to help us make sense of it all.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've done a pretty good job unpacking Free Churro today.
Yeah, I'd say so.
We've seen how it's touched viewers, explored those deep themes, and even gotten a little meta with the humor.
It's been a good deep dive.
If you haven't seen the episode yet, I highly recommend giving it a watch.
Yeah.
Just maybe have some tissues handy. And for everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, happy diving.